been working on new intros, man. And as if you've listened to the last couple of episodes, you've seen, like you've heard, don't mind the dust we're building here. That one might fit. I hear it and I get hype, and that's kind of the goal for an intro, right? You wanna be interested in what's about to happen. You want to be kind of hype on what's going on. But yo, welcome back. Episode 3, Looped In Studio Golf, back in the building, coming off an amazing time yesterday with Culture Club here in Denver, Colorado. So for those that don't know, I live in Boulder, Colorado, originally from Michigan, lived in Chicago for almost 14 years, lived in New York before we moved to Boulder. And yeah, so I'm down in Denver quite a bit and just played a 9-hole scramble, which we ended up 2 over. Trash. We only had 3 people though. We could have used, a fourth person for an extra shot on each hole because we were not playing well. But we were down at Culture Club yesterday at Common Ground Golf Club. Common Ground is the Colorado Golf Association's home course, and yeah, it was just dope. The vibes were high. It's just dope to see, a group of black folks just coming out to enjoy the game, enjoy, connecting. And as Ben Pittyman, who's the director of golf operations at Common Ground, said, like, it's not necessarily about finding the next Tiger Woods. It's more so about just coming together, connecting, being able to, share resources, network, see what other people have going on, support one another. So yeah, it was super dope. Big shout out to Ben and Nina, who started Culture Club. We'll have a recap of that event here shortly, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, we're in the heart of the golf season right now. I've got the Women's US Open on right now in the background. The Memorial Tournament has kicked off, better known as Jack's Tournament, in Ohio. That's on right now too, with few big guys on the top of the leaderboard, a few big names on the top of the leaderboard there. So yeah, we are in the midst, fully rolling, and just a quick and action-packed show today. Action-packed, I guess, a full show today. We're gonna recap real quickly Winter Circle from last week. I know it's Thursday of the following week, but I wanted to record this yesterday, but I'm glad I waited because the vibes were high at Culture Club. So we'll talk through Winter Circle real quick from last week. We're going to talk a little bit about the Women's U.S. Open here and some of the favorites. The big news of the past couple weeks is the LPGA has a new commissioner. We're going to talk about, the PGA to Memorial this week in Jack's tournament, and the PGA finally eliminates stroke format for the Tour Championship. Thank goodness, because for those that are familiar, whoever finished top of the FedEx standings, forget exactly how many strokes they got, but they would start so many strokes ahead of the rest of the field for the Tour Championship on the PGA Tour. But it's just ridiculous. Like, it'd be like, the number 1 seed in a tournament having like a 15-point lead to start the game. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So a couple notes on that. But yeah, Winter Circle from last week. Ben Griffin won the Charles Schwab Challenge in good form down at Colonial and Fort Worth, Texas. We had Chisato Iwai win the Riviera Maya Open for her first win down in Playa del Carmen. That course looks dope. Looks like a nice vacation down there. On the Korn Ferry, Pontus Nyholm won in dramatic fashion, playoff, eagled on the first hole from the fringe putt down at the Visit Knoxville Open in Knoxville, Tennessee. They played at Holston Hills Country Club. The APGA, we're going to cover a bit of the APGA here. If those that are not, again, familiar, APGA is a really cool golf tour. Really, their mission is to advocate professional their mission is their mission is to inspire an inclusive future through the game of golf, but it's the Advocates Professional Golf Association is the tour. That's the acronym for APGA. And they're just doing some really cool things, giving some opportunities to a lot of the HBCU graduates, a lot of people of color coming out of college and trying to make their way in the professional game. They're super active with a tour, through the summer, and a lot of those guys end up playing in things like the John Shippen to qualify for the Rocket Classic. So APGA is super dope, and if you get a chance to check them out, follow them on Instagram. I'll put them in the show notes here. But Marcus Bird won the APGA down in Florida this past week. At the PGA Golf Club, it was the APGA Farmers Insurance Invitational. And follow Marcus Bird. Marcus has been balling. I think he's one of the top sort of young black hats that are on some of these junior tours right now. He's played a bit on the Korn Ferry. I think he was playing down in South America for a little bit too, but I think he shot 11 under to win the APGA down there on a tough track. So yeah, be sure to follow Marcus Bird. He's been playing some good golf as of late. And then we had the wrap up of the college golf season with both the singles for men's and women's and the team competition for men's and women's. So Michael Lasasso won the men's singles competition from Ole Miss. A lot of commentary online about his violent yet pretty cool looking golf swing. We'll see how sustainable it is for his back over time, but he won in good fashion. They both the men's and the women's played at the Omni La Costa in Carlsbad. And Maria Jose Marin from Arkansas won the singles championship for the women's. That was last week. And then in also dramatic fashion, a putt on the last hole for the W. Northwestern beat the storied franchise, if you would, of women's golf. Northwestern beat Stanford, which is Stanford's a storied franchise. Obviously, Rose Zhang, one of the best, not one of the best amateur golfer to come out of college in recent years, went to Stanford. So big win for Northwestern, big win for the Big Ten there. I'm originally from Michigan, as I said, a big Michigan State fan, so pull for the Big Ten where we can. And then Oklahoma State for the men's beat Virginia. Man, this kid Eric Lee, if you get a chance to see some of the highlights, maybe I can put one on the show notes here too. Just balled the last couple of days. He in the semifinals, he made some big shots and big putts down the stretch to get Oklahoma State to the final and win his match. And then it was up to him to. I think he was one up on 18 yesterday in the team match play final, and hit this like cool pitch shot, sort of low screamer. He had found some trouble right side of the green and just hit this cool little low pitch shot into the green to have a putt for birdie, and ultimately it was a shot that ended up winning the match. He was one up, and Virginia ended up missing a birdie putt there. So really good time through all the NCAA roundup for the year. Check some of that out. Again, I'll throw some of the show notes so you can at least get a peek of what's going on. And then, the AJGA. I don't know, again, if you're familiar, it's the American Junior Golf Association. Charlie Woods played in the TaylorMade Open and ended up shooting, I believe, 66 on his last day. So 6 under on his last day to win the AJGA TaylorMade Open. And a big win for him. He doesn't have anything like that on his record book just yet. So he even remarked afterwards, just, this is a big win for him. It gives a lot of confidence knowing that, he can play against some of, the top amateurs and top youth golfers and sort of his league. And super big win for him. So that is the winner's circle from last week. Again, we're in the heart of of the U.S. Women's U.S. Open right now. Day 1 at Erin Hills. Which is, a really tough test. They were talking a lot about the green complexes and the rough and how difficult it was going to be this week. And then, we've got the Memorial on as well right now. I believe Shane Lowry was on the top of the board, this being recorded on the first day. Ricky Fowler was also up there, I believe, in second. Hopefully Ricky or Shane, looking for maybe Max Homa to play well this week too, can get some momentum. We've got the men's U.S. Open as I'm rocking my Oakmont U.S. Open hat in a couple of weeks here. So we're in the heart of the golf season, and there's been some good things going on both the major tours, the junior tours, college. Golf is alive and well again. Playing with Culture Club here in Denver yesterday, just a good reminder on how much the game is just alive and well, how much excitement there is around the game, and just this genuine sort of like joy and fun that comes with even playing bad golf. How you shoot +2 on a 9-hole scramble is not good, but good times were had, and people were really having fun yesterday. So it's just good to see golf is on a full wave right now, and I don't think it's going to end anytime soon, because as most of you know, once you catch that bug, once you hit that good shot, once you sort of get in the flow of this thing, it really does grab a hold of you. So next we wanted to chat LPGA. So obviously we're in the midst of the Women's U.S. Open this week, as mentioned, at Erin Hills. But the biggest news over the last couple of weeks is Craig Kessler, the former CEO from the PGA of America, and I believe he's the CEO of Topgolf as well, is the new commissioner on the PGA Tour. He was at McKinsey Consulting for a little bit. It sounds like he was in some private equity before. So he's definitely someone who knows the world of golf, knows how to raise money. From his management consulting days, I'm sure has a great analytical brain. And the LPGA is at a really interesting sort of intersection right now. There was some dissatisfaction, I'd say, with the former commissioner. I think as the game and just as golf has evolved over the last 4 or 5 years, seeing everything that's happening with PIF and Live, and seeing all the money going into PGA Tours, seeing things like Full Swing pop up. And if you look at golf participation right now, I mean, what's driving golf participation is women, minorities, people of color. That's what's actually driving the incremental growth of golf right now. If you look at like the National Golf Federation's statistics, I think 70% of the incremental growth is coming from women, youth, and people of color. So I mean, the LPGA is at an interesting intersection of that right now as the game continues to grow. They've got some really big stars on tour. Now, Korda Rose Zhang, as mentioned, was the most decorated amateurs, better than Tiger Woods, coming out of her amateur career, her collegiate career at Stanford, with how decorated she was, how many championships she won. The women's amateur at Augusta. I mean, Rose Zhang was a powerhouse. Had the pleasure of working previously for Excel Sports Management and worked on the inaugural Mizuho Americas Open, and Rose Zhang won. That was the first tournament that Rose Zhang won in her sort of professional debut, and she's a superstar by all means, shape, and form in terms of how good of a golfer she is. And it just seems like the LPGA has an amazing opportunity right now to storytell, like, as a professional league, and we're seeing it with the WNBA right now. Side note, my sister is the VP of marketing for the Indiana Fever, so I've just sort of had an insider's look, and that whole process with Caitlin Clark is that a league is made up of its stars, of its personality. That's why people are watching professional golf. That's why people are watching professional basketball, professional football. Obviously, there's an allegiance to teams and if you're a Lions fan, which I am, you're going to be allegiant to that team. But I think the NBA specifically and WNBA is a little bit different in the context that the stars have become such powerhouses, and no matter where LeBron is, you're going to be a LeBron fan. No matter where KD is, you're going to be a KD fan, and etc. So the LPGA just has uh such an amazing opportunity right now to storytell and to maybe do something like a full swing where we're able to kind of learn more about who their superstars are, who some of the players are, what their personalities are, get a sort of insider's look. I mean, obviously things like Full Swing and Drive to Survive for F1 have completely transformed. Well, it definitely completely transformed F1, and everybody became a fan of F1 after Drive to Survive. It was brilliant storytelling, and I think Full Swing has given that sort of inside look too, and brought maybe outsiders of the golf world into golf. And so amazing opportunity for the LPGA there to get into some player storytelling. The TV product, this has been remarked over the last couple of weeks, and it's no secret that the TV product will need to continue to improve. Their TV contract is tied to the PGA, so I don't think it's up for another 5 years. It's connected to the PGA's media agreement, but there's surely some ways outside the ropes, even inside the ropes, that they could start to storytell. I mean, if we think about, again, like Creator Classic, right? There's such a so many eyes and where creators are at nowadays, and how you think about how the PGA and even how Live has integrated Create a Classic into their format to bring again, more youthful eyes, the kids that are only watching YouTube, into the punching back in here. A little technical difficulty, recording just stopped. But yeah, I was speaking about what was happening on the PGA Tour in terms of the Creator Classic, the power that we've seen of that. As mentioned, the growth of golf is coming from women, young, diverse sort of people of color, minorities, and youth. That's driving 70% of the growth of golf right now. And so to be able to leverage the amazing creator ecosystem for the LPGA, combined with Full Swing, combined with this player storytelling, it's sort of like a 3 or 4 pronged approach. There's not going to be one avenue that's going to sort of be the single piece that's going to shift it all. They're going to have to try a multitude of things in a very focused strategy. And it seems like Craig Kessler, again, with his background and his passion for golf, has a good understanding of what needs to happen and how they can move forward. He was on Golf Channel outlining his vision for the future. Very McKinsey, you can sort of tell his management consulting background, but he said he wants to build trust for the players, sponsors, and fans. Building visibility is huge, making sure the players are seeing a bit of what I'm talking about here in terms of what does the ecosystem look like to start to do some of that player storytelling. Build fans of the game. What that really means is that you're building true fans that are attached, that are willing to engage, that are willing to pay for a ticket, willing to watch a piece of content, willing to buy a US Open hat, whatever it may be, but create fans of the LPGA. And then his last piece was financial, a more solidified financial foundation. And you can see this coming. This was, I think, part of the conversation and a bit of the frustration with the amount of money that's gone into the men's game over the last few years with PIF and Live Golf and the Strategic Sports Group, which is consortium or sort of a subsidiary, it sounds like, of Fenway Sports Group. They invested a $3 billion investment in the PGA Tour. So there's a lot of money being thrown around in professional golf right now, and the women's side of things just hasn't seen that piece of it yet. And Craig Kessler was mentioning he's willing to talk to anybody. He's willing to talk to Piff or anybody else that wants to invest in the women's game. So I do think that's going to be a big component for their membership and being able to drive some revenue and really grow the profitability of the LPGA Tour. Thankfully, I mean, it's not talked about as much. They did make strides in the last couple of years in terms of how much some of the tournaments are paying out, how much the championship paid out for last year. I believe it was around $4 million was the purse for the women last year for their championship. I think, healthcare was a big piece for them over the last couple of years. So, they are making strides in the right direction. But, a long way to go, which is why there is such a change right now. So yeah, I mean, a big shift for the women right now. They have such an opportunity to really speak to this sort of new era of golf. And again, they have made strides. I do think the previous administration, if you would, like, we're doing some really good things. As I mentioned, that $4 million going to the winner for their tour championship last year was a huge shift up. So it's there's a lot of good things happening, but it's interesting to see, and there's some good remarks, at least initially, for Craig going into US Open, and some of the sound bites coming from some of the membership this week. Craig doesn't officially start until I believe middle of June here, so he's got a little time, but he said there's no time for like listening sessions. It's there, rubber hits the road. It's time to go. The opportunity is now. So yeah, great opportunity for storytelling. As the leagues are made up of their stars, and that's such a critical piece for them. And they've got some amazing players on the PGA Tour or LPGA Tour, and the connection from the LPGA Tour, the swing speeds, the distances they play is much more probably realistic to the amateur game, to most of us mid handicappers, than anything else. So there's a lot of connection that can be found in terms of course management and distance control and carry distance, and a lot more. It's more relatable, I think, in a lot of ways to everyday golf. Like the swing speeds on the PGA Tour, just the distances, 340 is just out of reach for most golfers. So I think there's a lot that us mere mortals that love the game can learn from course management, for how the LPGA looks at a course, and just overall how good they are. There was a whole thing that like popped up last year, I think, on Twitter or the internet, about could a scratch amateur golfer beat an LPGA professional? It's just absolute blasphemy. It's nonsense. They are so good. Like, I've seen firsthand. I've worked in professional golf for a little bit. I've been on the range. Like, I've been at these tournaments. Like, they are so good. There's no way that just an average scratch golfer is going to be able to compete, because they don't miss as much as even that scratch golfer does, and their ability to control flight, move the ball right to left to right, all those things is just, it's not even in the same ballpark. So really excited about what's going on the LPGA Tour right now. Again, we're in the heart of as we broadcast live during the Women's US Open right now. Gina Thiticule was the favorite going into this week. She won the Mizuho Americas Open again, which I had the pleasure of working on the inaugural tournament a couple years ago. So she was the favorite coming in. She's not doing solo right now. Last I looked, she was at like +3. I think lead is at 1 or 2 under right now. Nelly Korda was second in the favorites, at least from a betting standpoint. And then Hyren Yu, who just won the Black Desert Championship at the beginning of May, was the third favorite. So yeah, I mean, we are in the heart of a hard test here at Erin Hills, and will be some entertaining golf through the rest of the weekend. I'm sure there's a bunch of coverage through all of your favorites golf blogs and outlets, but yeah, a lot of great TV coverage too over the next week. And so yeah, definitely tap in and pay attention there. Lead is at 4 under right now. Takita through 13 at 4 under, and AL Kim tied for the lead at 4 under right now. The Thursday at Erin Hills Golf Course up there in Wisconsin, I've heard nothing but good things about this course. There's a bunch of stuff on YouTube and Instagram about Erin Hills, some really great pieces. So check those out as well. And on to Memorial this week. They're playing PGA's up at Jack's course. One of the storylines coming out earlier this week is Rory didn't call Jack to tell him he wasn't playing this week. Rory typically likes to play the week before the U.S. Open to sort of tighten up and be in good form before going into the U.S. Open. So he opted out of playing this week. Is for those that don't know, this week is a signature event. So this year the tour went to a certain amount of signature events, which is essentially there's no cut. There's a limited amount of players. Everybody sort of wins in the context of like everybody makes money. You have to be, I believe, in the top. Yeah, you've got to be in the top 50 from the previous year, the FedEx Cup standings. They on next top 10 also qualify. They on swing 5. Who accumulate the most FedEx Cup points between signature events are available, and then PGA Tour members in the top 30 of the world rankings, not otherwise eligible through higher criteria, are also qualified, whatever that means. So it's a limited field event is the point, and Scotty opted out playing a signature event this year because he wanted to take time off before the PGA Championship, which ended up working out in his favor. So, Jack remarked to just like that question. He doesn't blame Roy for not playing this week. He had to make some tough decisions during, his career where it was just like he had to do what's best. And with the majors and how much they are such a precedent now for a career, these guys are shaping their schedule around how best they can prepare for those tests. So, great championship. Everybody remarks on how nice it is when you win to see Jack when you walk off. One of the greatest players ever, even though I think Tiger Woods is my GOAT. That's a debate for a different show. But yeah, they're up at Memorial this week, and all the big boys are there. Let's see who's in the lead right now. Ben Griffin is at 4 under. Ben just won last week, as mentioned, and Akshay Bhatia is in second. Morikawa is, Bhatia, Griffin, and Morikawa are also tied for first, and Shane Lowry's in second now. And how's our buddy Ricky Fowler doing? Ricky's back to even. Pulling for Ricky. Max is off to a good start, though, 1 under through 2. So Xander Schauffele in the top 10 here. Tony Finau is at 1 under. So yeah, nice little leaderboard to start the day. And up at Memorial, the last piece we had for this week, which was great news, was the PGA Tour decided to eliminate the starting stroke format. So last year and in years previous, if you were the number 1 player in the world at the start of the tournament, you started at 10 under. And, it was ridiculous. It'd be like being a number 1 seed in a tournament in NCAA or something, and you get like a 20-point start to the game. Like, it just didn't make any sense. And they finally listened. They finally were just like, yeah, this is ridiculous. We've listened to the fans. We've listened to Jay Monahan, the commissioner of the PGA Tour. His exact quote was, "Our fan forward initiative has helped us evaluate each part of the PGA Tour season, and today's announcement is an important first step in the evolution of our postseason. The Player Advisory Council led a thorough process to respond to what our fans are asking for, the most competitive golf in the world." Always kind of doing a comparison to live there, played for the highest stakes and the most straightforward and engaging format. So full agreement that it's just better when somebody doesn't start with, you know, a handicapped lead there. Like, who cares if you're the number one player in the world? You could be. They should move into match play. Match play is the most exciting format for a championship. I mean, stroke play obviously over 4 days is great, and you know, it's that is the PGA Tour. That's what we know of the PGA Tour, but match play is so fun to watch because of just the format, and you could seed players throughout that, right? Like if you're ranked number one, so on and so forth. So your seeding could be there, and then, you know, you're gonna have really cool storylines. Like if you're a low seeded player and you end up beating someone, you know, like just what would happen through match play through the championship. I just think the format would be a lot better and a lot more exciting. There's a reason why the Ryder Cup and some of these other national competitions lend to match play, and it's just because it's a more engaging format. Stroke play can get a little bit boring just over, you know, the course of 4 days, and I think you would get more people watching if you were seated and there was, you know, a bracket, and like, you know, you could do bracket busters, you could do, you know, people could fill out their bracket before, like just the amount of things that you could start to build into that format would be really interesting from a tour championship, a bracket with a match play format. It would be much more compelling. The storylines would be way better. So that's the first step. We made the first step. No more handicap lead for the tour championship, and hopefully the fan council and media and the players association and everybody else can continue to just make note on what's going to be best and the most engaging. So that's all I had for today. We are midweek this week again, coming off a great event yesterday with Culture Club. Look out for the recap of that soon, and we'll be back next week. I'm finding a cadence here. I'm finding we're building. Don't mind the dust. You know, this is sort of our short form podcast show vibes, and working on a few other things in terms of long form storytelling and upcoming tournaments that are happening. So yeah, stay tuned. Thanks for everybody for tapping in on any channel that you're listening to this on, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Like, subscribe, comment, share, please. It's a big thing when you do that. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you think about this new intro / outro, and yeah, we'll be back next week with a little bit more news.